The Galactic Council chamber floated in the silence of space, a massive ring of crystal and steel where representatives from 43 peaceful worlds gathered. Today, that silence was broken by Fear. Ambassador Krell stood at the center podium, his 3 eyes wide with panic. His blue skin had turned pale gray, a sign of extreme distress among his kind. Around him, other delegates whispered in dozens of languages, all sharing the same terror. "The swarm has destroyed 6 colonies in 2 cycles," Krell announced, his voice trembling. "Our defense fleets were swept aside like dust. They are coming for our core worlds next." The chamber erupted in frightened chatter. The swarm was a horror from deep space, a massive fleet of biomechanical ships that consumed everything in their path. No negotiation, no mercy. Just endless hunger. Elder Mora, the council's oldest member, raised her hand for silence. Her species had lived for thousands of years in peace, never knowing war. "What do our military advisors suggest?" "Evacuation," Krell replied quietly. "We cannot fight them. Our weapons barely scratch their hulls. Our pilots freeze in fear when they see what the swarm does to captured ships." A young researcher named Tick suddenly stood up from the observer section. "Wait, I have found something. A world that might help us." Every eye in the chamber turned to him. Tick activated a hologram, showing a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star. "This world is classified as a Class 12 death world," Tick explained. "The gravity is crushing. The atmosphere is toxic with free oxygen. Deadly storms rage across its surface. Disease organisms evolve faster than anywhere else in the galaxy. Even the plants produce poison. Why would we ask a death world for help?" Someone called out. "Because intelligent life evolved there," Tick said. "They call themselves humans. And they not only survived their planet, they dominated it." The chamber fell silent. Intelligent life from a Class 12 death world was supposed to be impossible. Most species came from calm, stable worlds with gentle conditions. Tick showed more images. Humans climbing frozen mountains for recreation. Humans diving into deep oceans filled with predators. Humans running for hours under their planet's brutal gravity just for fun. Human soldiers training in conditions that would kill most galactic species within minutes. "They have something called a military," Tick continued. "It is their entire culture. They study war like we study art. They have thousands of years of combat experience. They even fight each other when they have no other enemies." "Barbarians," someone muttered. "Perhaps," Elder Mora said slowly. "But we need barbarians now." "Tick, can you contact them?" "I already did," Tick admitted. "I sent a message 3 days ago. I received a reply this morning." He played an audio recording. A human voice spoke in rough, simple galactic common. "We got your message. We see your problem. Stand by. Help is coming." "That's it?" Krell asked. "No negotiation? No demands for payment? No conditions?" "That is all they said," Tick confirmed. "It could be a trick," a delegate suggested. "Deathworlders cannot be trusted." Elder Mora studied the images of Earth, of humans, of their savage planet. She thought about the swarm getting closer every day. She thought about children on 43 worlds who would die if the swarm reached them. "We have no choice," she said finally. "We wait for the humans. Pray to your gods that they are as capable as Tick believes." For 3 more days, the Council evacuated civilians from threatened worlds. Every hour, the swarm drew closer. Defense fleets pulled back, unable to slow the advance. Panic spread across the galaxy. Then, on the 4th day, sensors detected something new. A fleet appeared at the edge of the system. Not graceful organic ships like the Council used. Not the twisted biomechanical monstrosities of the swarm. These were brutal metal boxes covered in weapons, angular, aggressive, designed only for war, 50 human warships took position between the swarm and the nearest alien colony. A message broadcast across all channels in that same rough voice. "This is Admiral Cole of Earth's Third Fleet. We're here to handle your pest problem. All civilian ships, get behind us. Military vessels, stay out of our way. We'll show you how Deathworlders fight." Krell watched the human fleet on his display screen. They were so small compared to the swarm. So few, but they weren't running. For the first time in weeks, Krell felt something other than fear. He felt hope. The swarm detected the human fleet immediately. Their biomechanical ships changed course, moving toward the new threat like sharks sensing blood in water. 300 swarm vessels against 50 human warships. Ambassador Krell watched from the observation deck of the council station. Around him, other delegates had gathered, silent and afraid. "They are doomed," someone whispered. "Those humans came here to die." But Admiral Cole's voice remained calm on the open channel. "All ships, battle formation Delta, weapons free. Show them what Earth sends to monsters." The human warships spread out in a pattern that made no sense to galactic military doctrine. They didn't form a defensive sphere. They didn't calculate retreat vectors. Instead, they accelerated directly toward the swarm. "Madness," Krell breathed. "They're attacking." The swarm opened fire first. Green energy beams that had melted through council ships struck the human vessels. But the humans didn't dissolve. Their armor glowed white-hot, but held. They kept coming, and the humans returned fire. Krell had never seen weapons like these. Not elegant energy beams. Not polite plasma bursts. These were crude metal slugs fired at incredible speed. Missiles that didn't just explode. They punched through swarm hulls and detonated inside. Energy cannons that didn't tickle shields. They tore straight through. The first swarm ship broke apart in a bloom of fire. Then another. Then 5 more. How? Elder Mora stood beside Krell, her ancient eyes wide. "Our weapons barely scratched them." Teak pulled up data on his tablet, his hands shaking with excitement. "The humans don't use shields like we do. They build thick armor instead. And their weapons? They're designed to kill. Not disable. Not warm. Just kill." The battle became chaos. The swarm tried to surround the human fleet, but the humans split into small groups. Each group moved with perfect coordination, covering each other, focusing fire on single targets until they died. A swarm ship tried to ram one of the human vessels. The human ship didn't evade. Instead, it fired thrusters and rammed back harder. Both ships collided in a shower of metal and fire. The swarm ship tumbled away, broken. The human ship, its front crushed and venting atmosphere, kept firing its weapons. "That ship is dying," a delegate said. "Why doesn't the crew evacuate?" "Because the ship can still fight," Teak said quietly. Admiral Cole's voice cut through the chaos. "Cruiser Dallas is hit. She's venting atmosphere on 3 decks." Another human voice responded, calm despite the crisis. "Dallas here. We can still shoot. We're staying in the fight." "Negative, Dallas, fall back for." "With respect, sir, stuff it. We didn't come all this way to run from overgrown bugs." "Dallas is staying." A sound came over the channel that made Krell's blood run cold. The human admiral was laughing. "All right, Dallas. Give them hell." The crippled human ship charged deeper into the swarm formation, its remaining weapons blazing. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, 200 swarm ships were destroyed or fleeing. The rest scattered into deep space, broken and afraid. The humans lost 7 ships. 7 crews who fought until their vessels broke apart around them. "They won," Krell said, disbelieving. 50 ships defeated 300. "Not just defeated," Elder Mora corrected. "They terrified them." The swarm is running. I have never seen the swarm run. Admiral Cole's fleet regrouped. The surviving ships were scarred and battered. One was barely holding together, kept functional by emergency repairs. A transmission came through to the council station. This is Admiral Cole. We're going to need repair facilities and supplies. Also, we need to talk about your defensive strategy. Defensive? Krell asked when the channel opened. Admiral, you just achieved a miracle. What more could you suggest? A miracle? Ambassador, that was just a skirmish. The main swarm fleet is still out there. You've got maybe 10 days before they come back with serious numbers. Cole's voice was grim but determined. We need to teach your people how to fight. Our people are scientists, artists, philosophers, Elder Mora protested. We have never. Then you'll learn, Cole interrupted. Or you'll die. Those are your options. We can help you, but we can't protect 43 worlds with 50 ships. Your people need to learn to protect themselves. Silence filled the council chamber. What do we need to do? Krell asked finally. First, stop building ships like art galleries and start building them like tanks. Second, we'll train your crews in real combat tactics. Third, you need to understand something about Deathworlders. What is that, Admiral? We don't fight to survive. We fight to win. And we'll teach you the difference. 10 days passed like a storm. The Council's peaceful shipyards became factories of war. Human engineers walked through the facilities, shaking their heads at what they saw. These ships are beautiful, Captain Ross told the Council's chief designer. But beauty doesn't stop bullets. Strip out the decorative panels. Add armor plating. Mount these weapons here, here, and here. The designer looked horrified. But that will ruin the aesthetic balance. Your aesthetic balance won't matter when you're dead. Ross replied bluntly. In training facilities, human soldiers taught alien crews how to fight. The lessons were harsh. When you see the enemy, you don't think. Sergeant Williams barked at a group of trembling alien recruits. You don't feel sorry for them. You don't hesitate. You shoot until they stop moving. Then you shoot again to make sure. Krell watched from the observation room. This is madness. We are a civilized people. Civilization is a luxury you buy with strength, Admiral Cole said beside him. Your people have been safe for so long, you forgot that peace only exists because someone, somewhere, is willing to fight for it. We believed in diplomacy, in understanding. So do we, Cole said. But when diplomacy fails, you need a backup plan. The swarm is your backup plan. On the 8th day, sensors screamed warnings. The main swarm fleet had arrived. Over 1,000 ships blotting out the stars. This time, they faced a different defense. 60 human warships stood at the front. Behind them, 200 council ships with their new armor and weapons. Behind those, another 300 alien vessels with newly trained crews. The odds were still terrible. But this time, the defenders weren't running. Admiral Cole broadcast to the entire fleet. All ships, remember your training. Stay in formation. Cover your wingmen. And most importantly, hit them harder than they hit you. Today, we show the galaxy that peaceful people can fight when they must. All ships advance. The combined fleet moved forward. The swarm rushed to meet them, confident in their numbers. They had never lost before. They didn't understand fear. They were about to learn. The humans struck first, their missiles screaming across space. Swarm ships exploded in brilliant flashes. But this time, the council ships didn't hang back. Following human tactics, they focused their fire, taking down targets one by one. A swarm vessel broke through the line, heading for a council transport. An alien crew, fresh from training, positioned their ship between the swarm and the transport. Their captain's voice shook, but stayed firm. Not today. You will not pass us. They fired everything they had. The swarm ship died in flames. Admiral Cole heard the exchange and smiled. Good kill, Council Ship 7. Your planet will be proud. The battle raged for 6 hours. The humans led charges into the thickest fighting. But now they weren't alone. Alien crews fought beside them, learning with every passing minute that they could stand against the darkness. The turning point came when Elder Mora herself, commanding a Council flagship, led a group of 20 ships in a daring attack on the Swarm Command vessel. It was a tactic straight from human doctrine cut off the head. For our children. Mora's voice rang across all channels. For our worlds. Today we fight. The Swarm Command ship died under concentrated fire. Without coordination, the Swarm fleet began to fracture. Some ships fled. Others fought in confusion. The United Fleet pressed the advantage. By the end, the Swarm was broken. Survivors scattered into deep space, fleeing in all directions. For the first time in recorded history, the Swarm had been defeated. In the Council chamber, now scarred by battle damage, representatives gathered. The mood was different. Sadder, they had lost many brave souls, but also stronger. We won, Krell said quietly. We actually won. You won because you learned to fight for what matters, Admiral Cole said. You're not barbarians. You're survivors. There's a difference. Elder Mora approached the Admiral. What happens now? Will Earth rule over us? We are in your debt. Cole shook his head. We're not conquerors. We came because you asked for help. Simple as that. But the galaxy is bigger than your council. There are other threats out there. Other people who need protecting. Then we should work together, Mora said. The council formally invites Earth to join us. Not as subjects, as equals, as protectors. Cole extended his hand, a human gesture of agreement. Mora took it. Welcome to the galaxy, Admiral, she said. Glad to be here, Cole replied. Now let's build something worth protecting. Outside the station, human and alien ships flew side by side. The Deathworlders and the Dreamers, united at last. The galaxy would never be the same. The end. Asterisk.